What's going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are finally moving on to 1916. We're skipping part 1 of Sabaton history on it because it's going over the history of the band Motorhead, and I'll watch that on my own time. I don't feel like adding another 25 minutes to this video. I mean, if y'all really want me to watch it in a video, I will, but that's not my plan. But we are checking out 1916 Part 2, Child Soldiers of World War I. Oh, this is going to be a deep one, isn't it? Can't wait. As always, everything's linked below. Make sure you guys go and give them their love. Let's jump in.
I'm Pat from Sabton.
And I'm Indy Nidell.
And you're watching Sabaton History channel on tour.
Okay, on tour? Where are we?
We're in Mora on the Great Swedish Tour Part 2.
Part 2.
But before we talk about that, we're gonna talk about something else.
Take it away, Indy. I'm gonna start today with a quotation from Richard Van Emden's Boy Soldiers of the Great War.
There we go.
We had
I don't know why it was so loud.
killed the last day in the trenches, and the circumstances are particularly sad, for he was only 16 years of age. On Monday night,
Jesus,
I was
that's
sitting
so
warming myself
depressing.
by the coke fire, and young Crowther was sitting there too, and he looked so young and childlike as he nodded with sleepiness over the fire. Young Crowther was one of the sentries, and I gave the usual order, "Next relief there." I had only just got into the next bay when I heard a call, "Stretcher bearers." I turned and rushed back, and there was the poor lad face down in the trench, reddening the water all round with his blood. He only lived about 10 minutes. The shot entered his back, piercing the lung and bursting the main artery. So ended another young life in the twinkling of an eye.
Oh, that's so bad. What the f- Just what? Hey, relief. Walks away. Oh, that's so depressing. Holy shit.
16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes.
Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to watch the music video so I get the music right off the bat and then look into it afterwards. That's what I'm going to do. So, hold on. All right, I'm back. Literally just finished recording. Haven't even fucking edited the other one. I just wanted to get this one done really quickly. So let's jump back into this.
God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero.
In the summer of 1914,
Chasing my days down to zero is such a raw
majority of
line.
soldiers going to war did so in the belief of a short, victorious campaign.
How
would be
they
home
always go.
before the leaves fell, most certainly before Christmas at any rate. This expectation led to hundreds of thousands of volunteers rushing into the recruitment offices of their respective armies.
It's so depressing because we hear that every time. Like, you hear it about World War I. World War II, they thought the same fucking thing. Or fuck, even just small operations like in Mogadishu with Black Hawk Down. They thought they were going to be out there for like 30 minutes. You always hear that. It's never so depressing.
All wanting to be part of this grand adventure. But not all of them were grown adults. A sizable portion of these volunteers...
Holy shit, you look 12! None of you look a day over 16! You look 12, you look 14, you look 15. What the
were
fuck?
Young teenagers and underage boys, 13, 14,
13?
16 years old, that slipped through the cracks and got sent to the front. Soon the trenches of the great...
It's not slipping through the cracks. That's willful ignorance. It's not slipping through the cracks. You obviously are not old enough. Like, no. It's just ignorance. That's willful ignorance. Or just, yeah, go ahead.
Great War were filled with both the young and the old, but an enemy shell did not respect the difference in age.
No, they didn't.
Throughout history, armies always had their boys with them. These might be the drummers, pipers, and buglers.
Yep. I mean, think about, God, what's his name? Clemson, I want to say. Is that his name? The drummer boy, Saratoga or whatever?
Teenagers who maybe suffered from abusive parents or a terrible work environment often saw the armed forces as a last resort to escape their unhappy lives. And remember, in the 19-teens, working class kids would leave school at the age of 14 or 15 to find employment or apprenticeship. Only the privileged would remain in schools until they were 18 to 21. But the Great War, the opposite of dull civilian life, attracted both groups equally. In fact, there were many politicians and aristocrats that willingly sent their young sons to the front lines to fulfill a sense of duty. Prominent among them was Belgian King.
That's some fucked up parenting type shit. What the fuck, bro?
Albert, who said, "I want no special treatment for my son. Let him work in the trenches. He has to know."
Look how young he is. How old was his son? And you just sent him off?
How it feels to have blisters on his hands. Belgian Crown
So you send him to go fucking work. You don't send him to the front fucking lines.
Prince Leopold was only 13 when he joined the Belgian 12th
fuck
Line
you.
Regiment. Of course, this was mostly a publicity stunt, but Leopold would actually experience the trenches and come under enemy shell fire, so mostly isn't entirely. Back then, the demands of the monarchy, the church, and the army for obedience and discipline were pretty universal, and they were intertwined with society. Each classroom would proudly display paintings of famous military leaders or decisive battles to remind students about their nation's glorious history. The armed forces were seen as bulwarks of security and identity. Maybe nowhere was this more apparent than in Imperial Germany. I mean, it was not by chance that the sailor suit was the most popular dress for young boys at the time. Teachers and professors also played a huge part in stirring up patriotic fervor among the youth, who longed to get their chance for glory worth remembering.
We all volunteered and we wrote down our names and we added 2 years to our ages.
Fuck.
Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages.
But this dream was soon shattered on the battlefields of the Great War. The Battle of Langemarck in November 1914 was quickly dubbed by the German public as the murder of children and the death of innocents. Here, a myth began.
Imagine that. The murder of children for a battle is fucking insane.
That thousands of barely trained teenagers and young students were cut down by the older professionals of the British Expeditionary Force. Now, the official recruitment age in those days was between 18 and 21 in pretty much all of the warring nations. At that age, you were considered a grown adult, ready to make your own decisions, and were a man in his prime to serve in the armed forces. In peacetime, if you wanted to join up, there would be strict questioning, a general test of the senses, followed by an extensive medical examination. But in the turmoil and the chaos of the Great War, there was little time for that. The armies at the front were bleeding out, and they needed ever more men to fill the gaps. There were
let's take 13-year-olds.
Were even actively told to not be too strict with their demands.
See what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, let's still take children. It's not young men, children. And let them in. Like, fuck you guys. No.
Looked physically fit enough to keep up with the strains of soldiery, then he was most likely waved through. Of course, officially there was a minimum height requirement, as well as necessary weight and chest measurements. But teenagers, well, they can be huge and muscled for their age, especially if they were apprentices on a farm or in the metal industry or something like that.
Yeah.
Even the thin, the pasty-faced, the dull-eyed and pigeon-chested, though, were not necessarily excluded by more dubious recruiters. After all, a couple regular meals and a healthy lifestyle of exercise and fresh air would surely turn these youths into proper soldiers. The youngest soldier in the British Army was Sidney Lewis, who enlisted at just 12 years old.
Oh my
Sidney
God.
fought at the Somme.
He fought there? Whatever fucking recruiter let him through needs to be fucking strung up.
In the huge offensives there, in the bloody Battle of Delville Wood.
And he
Since
fucking
he
survived
had
it.
enlisted under a fake name and address, his mother only found out his whereabouts by meeting one of his comrades who was home on leave. She promptly went to the War Office, showed them her son's real birth certificate, and got him discharged. But why
W, Mom.
did a 12-year-old boy go to war in the first place? Well, the minimum height requirement for the British Army was only 160 centimeters. That's 5'3". And Sidney was tall and heavily built for his age. But since information was often taken at face value, a fake identity was hard to disprove. I mean, there were no computers with the internet to cross-reference a name or double-check if the given age was correct. And even if a boy was turned down by a more cautious recruiter, there was
They would just go over, they would go to the next town over and go to a different recruiter.
nothing stopping him from trying another recruiting office the next town over.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
eagerness might seem strange to us, especially with the benefit of hindsight, but we have to remember that each and every one was suddenly involved with this enormous, all-encompassing war. From kindergarten to university, they were exposed to the constant propaganda. Parents and neighbors constantly talked about the war, and newspapers and magazines were falling all over each other with the newest stories and most exclusive photographs from the front. The store sold tons of wooden guns and swords, and children played
Pretty
Germans and French with replica uniforms. France's youth,
God, replica
especially,
uniforms is
was
crazy.
gripped by the omnipresence of the war, being under invasion, and with a deep-seated Germanophobia. It was always assumed that one day, some generation would avenge the humiliation of 1871 and return Alsace-Lorraine to the nation. Magazines were not shy of presenting their audience the Petit Bleu, the teenage soldier clad in the blue uniform of the Poilu, going off to fight the Boche, to fight the Hun. A battle near La Bassée in May 1915 was described as follows. 2 French battalions of the line headed the charge, mostly formed of the youngest recruits. The Bavarians held their ground and fought gamely. The youngest soldiers of France rushed the machine guns at no matter what loss, emptied their magazines into the crowded trenches, and then
Oh, that's
jumped in
fucking
and fought with the
crazy.
bayonet. In Imperial Russia, although the official draft age was 19, there were reportedly thousands of teenagers dropping out of school to join the regiments at the front.
So
Girls
fucking
as
young.
well would cut off their hair and put on men's clothing to try and join. Medical examinations, if they happened at all, were often just a formality and hastily done. So a teenager with broad shoulders and an acceptable
I refuse to believe that they didn't, that it's like, oh, broad shoulders and all that, like he keeps saying. I refuse to believe a lot of the pictures they're showing. No. It is very obviously a fucking child. You're not old enough. Like, no, they
weight
no,
and height.
I can't.
Was good enough to serve in the artillery or carry boxes of ammo for the machine gunners. The Cossacks had a strong tradition of teenagers learning how to ride and fight on horseback. Same went for the Guard regiments, where the rich and important enrolled their sons to serve the Tsar, as well as their own resumes.
No, not this line.
To his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother. And I fell by his side, and that's how we died, clinging like kids to each other.
There were
God, just
also
hearing that line
several
again
frontline
makes me
units
fucking
that
tear
deployed
up.
children as spies.
That's such a
as they were
sad
considered
line.
less suspicious when they were roaming the countryside between the front lines. War naturally produced more than enough orphans that were left to their own fate. 8-year-old Momcilo Gavric was one of them and became most likely the youngest soldier in uniform during the war, wearing that of the Royal Serbian Army.
An
His family was
8-year-old.
killed by members of the advancing Croatian Home Guard, who burned down their house. Gavric found his way
8.
to a Serbian artillery battalion who officially adopted him. He would witness battle, was given his own uniform and even formally promoted to corporal and eventually to lance sergeant. Such sons of the regiment were not uncommon, especially...
Okay. It's not as bad, but it is bad that they fucking kept bringing him with them.
in places where the front was not as clear-cut as in the West. In the Ottoman Empire, children had always played a great part when it came to generating patriotism among the populace. Teenagers dressed for war stood at the forefront of ceremonies honoring the fallen. Orphans especially were stylized as the lasting symbols of sacrifice, as they became the sons and daughters of martyrs. The vast majority of Ottoman teenagers were also left unschooled during the war. Instead, they were taken up by paramilitary associations like the Strength Association or the Youth League. All of the warring nations had such outdoor youth clubs and scout movements, often
not much else to do at that time.
Here, the children wore their own uniforms, badges, and flags. They marched through the country singing patriotic songs or sat together at campfires, sharing stories of military legends and war heroes, stories which the boy soldiers wanted to experience themselves in the great war of their time. Yet these would very often not have the happy ending they wished for. And someday,
no, that's how life goes.
Would end one way or the other. But most soldiers would carry both internal and external scars forever with them. If the violence and horrors could break grown men, then it would most certainly affect the minds of the young. Indeed, many teenagers who came back after months or even just weeks at the front were unable to return to society. Often they were left in a pathological state of trauma and shock. How could anyone expect them to return to school or apprenticeship after witnessing all the death and destruction?
No, you can't. They can't.
Tough to say if these were really the unlucky ones, though, as the graveyards of the Great War are certainly full with graves of underage soldiers. Fake identities mean that we can never be sure how many actually fought and died.
Oh, that's depressing.
And many, many parents would never find their teenage son's final resting place.
Oh, that's sad. That is so fucking sad. But also, isn't the saying the dead are lucky because they've seen the end of war or something along those lines? I swear I've heard that line before. Fuck's sake, so young. Dude, I'm so glad I listened to the song first. I'm so glad I listened to the song first.
We said we are in Mora, which is in Sweden. And tell us a little bit about this tour and why we're here and what we're doing.
This is the second part of the Great Swedish Tour.
Okay.
We did 30 shows, 30 cities in Sweden.
Yeah.
Very few
Damn, that's a lot.
do that. Most, they do Stockholm, Gothenburg, maybe a few more, but we did 30.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking shows. That's
we
dope.
Thought it was so fun, so we found another 20 more cities, including
Jesus!
in Mora, which is where we also decided that that's where we're gonna film the SabatonHistory channel.
So that's why I came up from Stockholm so that we can do this today.
Damn!
I saw you guys play.
50 shows is amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. Now, what is so different then, or what is so much fun about touring Sweden as opposed to an international tour?
It's quite a lot of different, you know, we get to play a little bit different set.
Yeah.
We play more songs in Swedish than we normally do from Carolus Rex. And
yeah, that's what I would think too.
A stage set that we're currently sitting in that looks very different from what we normally do. You see, we're not sitting on a tank this time.
We are not sitting on a tank this time. We're not surrounded by barbed wire, which is what we like at home even. You know, we're so used to it. Keep barbed wire by the bed at home. My wife goes crazy, but what the heck, you know? Realism.
And so it's a little bit different. And the whole idea about this tour was born a little bit about the corona. You know, people shouldn't travel during corona, so we travel to them.
Right.
And also to make smaller shows in order to, not have super events, you know?
Okay, yeah, 50 smaller shows, that makes sense.
The idea why we started. Now we are, of course, a couple of years later. Now we're just doing it because we love it so much.
And you're really playing like everywhere. I mean, 50 Swedish places. Or that's a lot.
Yeah.
That
we
is a
play
fucking lot.
A lot of them, which very few bands have ever been to before. We started a tour in Övertorneå,
Which I've never been to.
and very few people have been.
Hell of a name.
And now we are here, after a few days, we're here in Mora, which
Yeah.
you never been.
No, I have been to Mora actually.
Yeah,
once. I've never played in Mora. Mora was actually when I first came to Stockholm in 1996. A guy I knew was going skiing in Löfsdalen, and the first time I'd ever been skiing in my life, it took me through Mora. I couldn't speak any Swedish. I'd only been in Sweden for like 3 weeks. This is the second time, 25 years later, that I've been in Mora. But even like I've toured a lot with Swedish bands around Sweden.
It's a cool fucking little
I've played,
story.
like, every town in Sweden. I've never played in Mora.
But you've been skiing in Mora. Did you ski the Vasaloppet?
I did not ski the Vasaloppet.
For anybody who doesn't know what Vasaloppet is, it's the biggest skiing competition in the entire world.
Damn, that's fucking
And
big.
the finish line of that one is here. They go actually 90 kilometers.
Yeah.
And it's in the ancient tracks.
Yeah.
Cross
even though
country.
it's
I can't.
opposite direction
I used
they
to
go now, but it's
I used to ski a shitload, like downhill skiing, and then I swapped into snowboarding. I can do both, or I used to be able to. I haven't been in years. One thing I could never do was cross country skiing. I don't know what it was. I would always fall on my ass. I could not cross country ski to save my life.
in the ancient tracks 500 years ago. This year.
This year? Oh, wow! I didn't realize it was this year. Of course, this year is the 500th anniversary. Yeah, of course.
So, when the Swedish, who was not yet a king,
Yeah, but going to be king.
soon to be king, went by skiing to escape from the Danish king,
As you do.
as you do, and
I love that. Just yeah,
supporters.
obviously.
And
It worked out pretty well. But
Have you ever done Vasaloppet?
I have not done Vasaloppet.
But you like
unfortunately.
skiing.
I like skiing. I skied a lot when I was younger. I was competing in skiing when
Yeah.
I was younger. And
I competed in skiing when I was young,
we had
too.
the World Ski Championship in Falun. I was a small part of the opening ceremony where I ran out with a bubo and gave it to one of the Swedish kings, and then we skied out of the stadium.
That sounds kind of cool.
That is
You
cool.
don't happen to have a video of that, do you?
Maybe it exists in the Swedish television's
Okay,
archive
okay,
somewhere,
so
but I don't have it. I don't think that anybody else were allowed to bring a camera in there
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever, or anybody had a camera by then.
Okay.
That'd be cool to
when
see,
you guys
though.
are on a tour like this, you have a few days off every now and then. Do you guys ever go skiing between shows?
Did we ever go skiing between the shows? I think it has happened.
Probably not a lot,
Actually,
though.
it has
You'd,
happened.
you'd probably want to rest.
And we were kind of considering doing it yesterday just for the fun of it.
Yeah, well,
because we're here, but weather was absolutely shitty.
Oh, okay. Do you prefer slalom or do you do cross country or what do you like?
I prefer cross country.
Yeah.
I prefer
think
slalom.
It's more my thing. I'm
Okay.
not so much for going super fast.
Okay.
I am more for going and enjoying the ride.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, you can do
Now,
that with
okay,
slalom.
Since we're not on a tank and since we wanted to go around the stage, can you talk us around the stage and show us some of the things we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, this one reflects more the Swedish
This
to stay with the rest of the crew.
And that works out.
Yeah.
So the band is all here now. This is afternoon when we're
is this all
A lot of people.
about the song. Are you playing it live already?
okay? Here we go. I think we're
Everything
finally
tends
talking
to be
about it.
something different.
Yeah.
And tips for any of you guys who sometimes invite us to museums when we are coming on tour to your city is to come up with a great guide as well. Because a great guide is what makes a great museum.
Honestly,
We've
true.
talked about possibly in the future about me following you guys on a tour one day and doing some historical tours of the different places. That'd be kind of cool, but that'll be in the future.
Yeah,
Oh, one
sorry
quick
for skipping
question,
ahead.
though. About the song, are you playing it live already?
We haven't decided yet if we're gonna play that song live when you are watching.
Okay, skip ahead, skip ahead.
Thank you for watching.
Okay, on to part 3, technically. But on to the next part.
Sabaton.
This is Sabaton History.
We're currently in Mora, and soon we're going to talk a little bit about our music video for the song 1916.
But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the year.
Yeah! Great song. I'm definitely gonna have to listen to it again at some point.
And that's what you are when you're soldiers.
1916. You know, that year has a nickname. By those who lived and fought the Great War, it has a nickname. They call it the Year of Battles. That is pretty remarkable in a war that killed tens of millions of people and wounded tens of millions more. That one year should be known as the Year of Battles. It got that name.
No, that's fucking
that summer
insane.
when the two largest battles in human history up to that point and the longest battle of the Great War were all being fought at the same time. The long one was the Battle of Verdun, and I've covered that on Fields of Verdun.
Verdun.
The one you've likely never heard of was fought on the Eastern Front and may well still be the battle in history with the highest death count, Russia's Brusilov
that's
offensive.
fucking,
And the third one, the Battle of the Somme. The
was the battle?
Brusilov offensive.
Brusilov
Third one,
offensive, okay.
the Battle of the Somme. The events
Yep, heard of the
in
Somme, heard of Verdun. I
1916
haven't heard of the Russian
happened
one.
at the Battle of the Somme. Well, the actual fighting and dying part. The kids enlisting and lying about their ages to serve happens before, of course. But it's
Of
the
course.
battle, this battle, that great 4.5-month battle that caused as many as, and perhaps more than, 1.5 million casualties. That is the central battle of
Such
Great
an
War
insane
remembrance
fucking
for
number.
the British. So when Lemmy wrote a song about the futility of the war and the staggering loss, it's only natural that it be set at the Battle of the Somme.
Yeah, it makes
Those
perfect
three
sense.
battles, though geographically spaced out, were intertwined. At the Second Chantilly Conference, already in December 1915, Entente High Command agreed that in the summer of 1916, they would launch
God, Entente.
simultaneous
I heard Entente, I just think Entente Alliance from Yujo Senki or Tanya, Saga of Tanya the Evil. By the way, if y'all are into anime and you'd like to see a interesting alternate history-esque World War I anime that focuses on, it's kind of like an isekai, which is reborn or whatever into another world, but with quote-unquote mages who work with the military. Yujo Senki is a really good one, and season 2 should be coming out this year.
offensives on the eastern, western, and Italian fronts.
Now I gotta
This
look it
would
up.
prevent
Is
the
Yujo
enemy
Senki coming
from
out this
being
year?
able to transfer force to one threatened point, since there would be multiple threatened points. February 1916, it was decided that the Western Front offensive would take place where Sir Douglas Haig's British Army's flank met Joseph Joffre's French armies at the Somme River in Picardy. Thing is, German Army Chief of Staff Erich von Falkenhayn launched the Battle of Verdun just a few days later, and this would soon color the plans.
Yeah, sometime
By
this year.
May, with so many French forces being diverted for Verdun, the Somme offensive was not to be the decisive battle, but the French would support the British in a battle to relieve Verdun, forcing the Germans to commit troops from one to the other, but also keeping German troops in France so they didn't head to the Eastern Front to fight the Brusilov offensive when it got going. Falkenhayn was planning a spoiler attack against the Somme, but that was canceled when Brusilov went off in early June and smashed through the Austro-Hungarian lines. So all summer long, he was forced to send troops over there to prevent the catastrophe from worsening. Okay, but what about the actual Battle of the Somme? The Battle of the Somme began July 1st, 1916, with the Battle of Albert, postponed 2 days by bad weather. There was a week-long preliminary artillery barrage to
God, the
soften up
fact
the
that a
enemy
battle
defenses,
is
but they were pretty
the fact that a battle is postponed due to bad weather is fucking insane. Like an actual battle, not like the start of one. Maybe the start. Maybe he means like the start of the battle, like the first offensive got postponed due to bad weather. But just the thought of that just is insane to me. Like, oh yeah, nope, sorry guys, delay of game due to lightning. That's just where my mind goes to when I hear that.
solid by this time. The Germans had, after the autumn battles of 1915, really begun to construct a defense in depth. The barbed wire between them and the enemy was now 2 belts, not 1, nearly 30 meters wide and nearly 15 apart. The front line is actually 3 lines, 3 trenches connected by traverse lines about 150 meters apart. The first is mainly manned by sentries in concrete bunker recesses, with the main forces and reserves being further back. There is a series of strong points around 1 kilometer behind this system, and they now have a back defensive line. Well, a back system of trenches nearly 3 kilometers behind the front defenses. But connected to them by traverse trenches and phone lines dug over 2 meters into the ground, which kept the troops in contact with the artillery.
Yeah, it makes sense on why you'd want that.
This last position is beyond the range of the Allied field guns. So if they break through the front lines, they'll have to pause their attack just to bring the guns forward. There are weaknesses to this system: the chalky ground, the forward slope of the front trenches, and the fact that even in their new dugouts, most of the actual fighting force is still within 1 kilometer or so of the actual front. The Entente artillery barrage is close to 2 million shells on an 18-kilometer front, though many are
that's
duds,
so many.
and they mainly just churn up the ground instead of destroying the defenses. Entente morale is high as the battle begins, with the British soldiers.
Yeah, there was a unexploded ordnance from World War I and II. There's especially even one. They're still finding UXOs around the place, aren't they? Like, you have to be actually careful in certain places where battles were fought because there's UXOs.
Soldiers singing, "We beat them on the Marne."
And also, I know it's from World War II, but wasn't there a dude in Britain who just was using a unexploded bomb from the bombing of London as like a door stopper or something like that? Something insane.
We beat them on the Aisne. We gave them hell at Neuve-Chapelle, and here we are again. It's really the first day of the Battle of the Somme that inspired Lemmy to write the song 1916. For it is that day that is mainly remembered when the British take casualties of nearly 20,000 men before noon. There are two schools of blame about this. This is the moment that has come to symbolize the whole of the Great War. The Lions, led by Donkey's school, sees it as a savage indictment of the stupidity of British generals. The long lines of overburdened men stumbling towards the German machine guns are painted as victims, dying for no reason. However, it is crucial to dispel
dying for a few extra feet of
tactics were the best that could have been conceived at the time.
So many dying for a few extra feet of land. Colder.
Either way, the British attack this
Still
day is
line.
a disaster. The artillery in many places fails to cut the barbed wire, especially when they mostly fire shrapnel shells and not high explosive shells. The German defense system is still totally intact, and the attacks are not really so much a story of British incompetence, but rather the strength of the German defenses and their resilience. There are like 100 German machine guns in armored nests that survive the artillery, and they open fire as the infantry pours from the trenches. The attackers have to bunch together to get through these surprisingly small gaps in the barbed wire, and they are just mowed down. Most British soldiers carried over 30 kilos of equipment: rifle, grenades, ammo, rations, 4 empty sandbags, a shovel, field dressing, a steel helmet, 2 gas helmets, a water bottle, and a mess tin.
General James Edmonds will write post-war in his official history. The weight of this equipment made it difficult to get out of the trench, impossible to move much quicker than a slow walk,
he sounds so different because of the mic dying.
Down quickly. The British do take 2 villages this day, sure, but the cost in men to do so boggles the mind. They take 57,470 casualties, according to Peter Hart, and 19,240 of those are men killed. There are actions like this one, right? The 6 Royal Warwicks reached their goal, but when German machine guns hit them from both flanks, they retreat to their starting point. 836 men had set out, 520 were killed, and 316 wounded. Every single man, every single one, is either killed or wounded. On the
for nothing
positive side, the Germans do immediately transfer 2 divisions up from Verdun, which might prevent them from launching attacks there. And the French attacks at the Somme just south of the
I
British,
wouldn't exactly call that a
they're
positive.
fairly successful. For starters, the Germans are not expecting an attack there. And for seconds, the French have way more heavy guns here. And they do destroy a lot of the defenses and put the
That's
machine
good, at
guns out
least.
of action. They overrun the German front lines and take a bunch of villages.
Damn, they
but
launching
knowing
those
that the
shits.
British advance has stalled, they pause, and this gives the Germans time to reinforce. So over the days that come, they start getting hit as badly as the British. It's not going to be a picnic for the Germans either, though, since Falkenhayn has ordered that all ground lost absolutely must be recovered, no matter what the cost. The first phase of the battle lasts for 2 weeks, though the whole battle will run 104 days. In this phase of the battle, British General Headquarters repeatedly reports that the Germans are on the verge of collapse. But what they do not
Constantly
do
for the
is
next
make
104
sure
days.
their attacks are simultaneous or supported by as much artillery as possible. You can really see the results of this style of command. Between July 3rd and 10th, the 23rd Division
Artillery
of
is
3rd Corps
king.
attacks Contalmaison 8
Right behind
times, right? Just to their
air-
right,
air
in the
dominance.
same period, the 17th Division of 15th Corps launches 11 attacks against the next trenches over. Not one single time do these attacks happen simultaneously, and only once does one corps' artillery assist the other corps. So
Why?
those divisions take huge casualties for pretty small advances. So maybe the tactics used are the best available, as Keegan writes, but the strategy sure isn't. Even though after the first 13 days of the battle, British casualties are 85,000, and even though it's been a bunch of narrow front attacks, most often without sufficient artillery that enable the enemy to concentrate reserves, they do take a bunch of fortified positions in a fairly short time period. On July 1st, they take nearly 8 square kilometers. From the 2nd to the 13th, they take 50. So as long as they are willing to disregard the enormous casualties, this is a period of steady achievement. The Germans
how can you
are,
ignore
however,
that amount
not
of
on the brink
casualties?
collapse. Though they are in some disarray. Between these operations happening where their lines are overrun the first, a lot of the batteries being knocked out by artillery, and Falkenhayn's insistence that every fragment of territory lost be immediately recovered, by this time, all the German reserves have been used. A tactical withdrawal might be a good idea, but when one commander plans such a thing, Falkenhayn fires him and issues orders to counterattack to the last man. Here's a quote from the Somme
Last
by
man,
Robin Fryer
probably
and
not the
Trevor
best
Wilson.
idea.
It is important to take note of this directive. We have witnessed so many examples of ineptitude on the part of the British command that it is important to remember that they could be equaled or exceeded by the Germans whenever the opportunity presented.
Well, as I said, the battle lasts way longer than 2 weeks, finally winding down in mid-November when both sides hunker down and just endure the winter weather. It sees fantastic episodes like the Battle of Flers-Courcelette, where tanks are used in battle for the first time. But what it sees by the end is that for all of those casualties, well over 1 million all told, the British and French advance some 10 kilometers on a front 26 wide. I cannot tell you for sure whether it was lions led by donkeys or not. And the historiography has changed over the years. Until the 1930s, the popular British narrative was that it was a costly victory, but still a victory, over a brave and hardy
I think
opponent.
everyone lost.
Since then, the story of mud, blood, and total futility has gained more and more ground.
I
Though
think
both
it's
schools
just
still exist.
everyone fucking
As
lost.
for Lemmy writing this song, maybe he imagined what it was like at home in England, where British wounded begin reaching London in early July in immense and endless convoys, even as the battle becomes a struggle for small woods and
While
tiny
certain
villages.
fucking entire
Proper
towns just
identification
aren't getting
for hundreds of
their
thousands
sons
of
back.
the dead proves impossible as artillery tears up the bodies and then the corpses, tearing up with it the hopes and the dreams of an entire generation.
My friend cry, and he sank
God, not this line. They keep reusing it. It's so fucking sad. Like, that's such a sad
Parrot, You're
line.
gonna tell us about your music video for the song. But first, can we get like 5 seconds of the video?
It's a good video. It's already out in case you missed it. R.I.P.
Yeah, this was something special. I mean, we always had the idea to make this video when we had the idea about the song.
Right.
And it took a little while before we find
let's
the
hear
right
about the
spot
song.
to film it. But obviously, this is a Motorhead song. We made it in England,
Yeah,
and
of
we
course.
went to Birmingham to film it.
Okay.
In Black County Museum. Pretty cool place.
Yeah.
It's like a living museum, huge.
Wow.
Several streets.
Oh, the entire-
there was all
that's
the
an entire
actors and stuff were
museum.
there. It was really
That's
amazing
cool as
place
shit.
to shoot.
Yeah.
And that was one of the settings. We also had to go far north in England where we shot all the scenes of the battles,
Okay.
and which we call the no man's land scenes.
Okay, sure.
And finally, we were shooting in a place outside of Birmingham, in the outskirts, where we were able to close down a street to film the march of the metal army, as we called it. And this was a pretty
The
funny
march was
thing.
pretty
We were
cool.
looking for a lot of metal people who wanted to take part in a music video in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And when you send out that to the community in Birmingham, and you're like, hey, any metalhead want to be a part of it?
You're gonna get a few.
Yes, there's a
got
shitload
quite
of
a bit.
metalhead living in Birmingham. But we were a little bit worried because, you know, lately it was a lot in the news that Ozzy Osbourne is moving back to Birmingham.
Yeah. Yep.
And so people thought that this was some kind of event for Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh.
And we were a little
okay.
bit worried that when they finally get the idea that this is a Sabaton music video, I hope that nobody is turning around and like, damn, I hope it was something
Damn,
with
that's
Ozzy, and I don't
unlucky
wanna do anything
timing.
for Sabaton. But it was actually quite emotional when the director was telling to everybody who show up, thank you guys, and what you're gonna do today is you're gonna be part of filming a music video for Sabaton.
Yeah.
And not a single person decided to walk home. Everybody was very excited.
Wait, there were
That's
a lot of
great.
guns there. I mean, you know.
No, there was also a lot of guns there, but in the
That's
metal
great to
army,
hear, though.
most of the people were just metalheads.
So you had
But we had-
hundreds and
Hell
hundreds
yeah.
of people.
Yeah, it was a shitload of people,
Yeah.
but they were mixed. So I mean, in the music video, you might find it a little bit strange that we have all these kind of things, anything from Caroleans to World War I soldiers and World War II soldiers, and even
it's
British knights and things.
it's every
because
era.
We wanted to capture also the entire history of Sabaton and to get it in more there.
I didn't even see it as just is capturing the history of Sabaton. I saw it as every war has these child soldiers, is how I interpreted it.
And also the modern part of it, punks, and we wanted rock
Yeah,
people,
sure.
and we wanted a lot of things in there just to make
Great mustache.
the impact, you know, that we are all belonging in the same universe.
Hell
and,
yeah.
We had so much ideas about this music video, and in the end, when you're filming a music video and you have a million visions and ideas, and you're gonna catch that in a few minutes,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of what we call kill your darlings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we wanted to get in so much in there, and
Yeah.
it was difficult to get everything in the final movie. So in the editing, we had to take away so many cool shots, and I'm really sorry for some of the actors who had to, for example, Spartans who had to march in November in English streets.
Wait. You have outtakes of all this, right?
Yeah.
Can we show some?
Yeah, we should show these people some of those outtakes,
Yes!
because some
I
of
wanna
it
see
was
it.
pretty cool.
I want to see it.
We all wanted, and we wrote down our names, and we added 2 years to our ages. Eager for life and ahead of the game. Ready.
God, this is some cool ass shots.
And we drawled and we fought, and we fought till we stood.
A great fucking set, by the way. Like, they did amazing on this set. Using a water bottle as a fucking pillow is a vibe.
My favorite was when we were filming the scenes with the stunt horses.
We go back. Yo, homie, dope outfit. I wouldn't be able to have this on my outfit right here. I'd pick that shit off. That shit would bug me.
My favorite was when we were filming the scenes with the stunt horses and the knights.
I love the job, stunt horse. Stunt horse, you know.
They were charging through fire, and it was like, wow, you realize that it's so difficult to shoot these scenes. And in
God,
our
I love
video,
horses.
we had 2 horses trying to synchronize and charge, and they were well-trained riders, and everything was good, but it was still so difficult to make these horses, you know, if the horse don't want to go, the horse don't want to go.
I learned that about camels.
Yeah.
I learned that from you guys.
Look at that amazing,
One of those funny things you learned. Hey, I
majestic
noticed that
man.
Carton de Vere and Lawrence of Arabia, they're not in this video. But they're too individual. You want to cover the whole soldier, you know, that's...
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt the flow.
We didn't get all the individuals, but we got the main things. And in the end,
If they haven't already, I'm sure they will eventually.
A great music video.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Oh, it was an
I think
amazing
we should
video.
look at some more footage from the video.
Yep.
And say thank you to everybody who was watching.
All right, that's it for this week on the Sabaton History Channel. Wait, I was in Birmingham in November. I didn't know you guys were in Birmingham in November.
Damn, they didn't invite him. God. Love the 50 cal. Homie going all in on that scream. Oh, blank firing. That's cool. At least I think that was blank. Those must be blanks because that muzzle flash was too realistic. Yeah, that's gotta be blank. With how the muzzle flash was going, that had to have been blanks. Unless they got an amazing VFX crew for it to do the muzzle flash, which I doubt, they did great. Yeah, those are blanks. So glad they used blanks for this. I love how happy everyone is.
Thanks for watching. That was awesome, right?
It was awesome.
Please subscribe to our channel.
Already
Hit
am.
that little bell so you get notifications the next time we release another episode of Sabaton History Channel.
Thank you for making this. This was amazing. That was Sabaton History 1916. That was a really enjoyable couple episodes. I really enjoyed those. As always, they're linked below. Go check them out. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.